Okay. Let's talk today about a concept, actually two concepts. They're connected, and this is for folks who are new to business or are maybe been in it for a little while, 6 months, a year, something like that. You're going to notice something happening. Okay. So first of all, I want to point out you are not your customer. You are not your customer. Now, I had to learn this the hard way. Some of you know I've been a copywriter for over 25 years. I was studying Caples and Hopkins and Dan Kennedy even back in college in the mid 90s. Dan Kennedy hadn't even formed Glazer Kennedy yet. He was doing self-published books that were in my library. And I had a 3-hour break on Wednesdays in college that I would use to, I still had to be there. I couldn't go home. I had classes later. So I'd go to the BCIT library and get films, documentaries, books, just read about physics, copywriting, whatever I wanted. Okay. And that's how I learned a lot before I got out. So what I didn't learn, though, is that the things that other people valued, and this is very important for copywriting, were not the things that I found were important. For example, it has never worked on me to have these long form video sales letters with testimonies of people bawling their eyes out. Okay. That's a total turnoff for me. Turns out that's a negative mindset thing that works for people who are afraid, and enough of those because they're really emotionally motivated. I like to wallow down there. That will work on them eventually, and then they'll fork over $5,000 to get involved in some network marketing thing. Okay. So what I found out as a writer, and probably it took the first like 10 years, me writing, to find out that the stuff that I valued was not what my buyers valued. Okay. It was only by accident that we would overlap sometimes. I was still a good writer and I could get results, and it was better than nothing, or, often better than what other people could put out. But that's just quality of writing, right? It didn't really sink in until, I don't know, 2012, 2013, probably, when I really started doing a lot of it. Hey, wait a minute. The features or the things that stand out to me about products and services are not what most other people value or want. And so I had to change what I wrote about and how I did my research. Actually, I had to do some market research, right? And I found out that information interviews, this is a side bit for those of you who are in the field, information interviews, calling people up or talking to people and saying, hey, can I, have 15 minutes, 20 minutes of your time to go over something with you? I'd love your feedback. Right, were the most valuable things. Okay. That is how I got a lot of pain points, a lot of language to use in copywriting so that I would understand what they valued. Okay. So when you start out, you are not your customer. Okay. And this means you won't pay the way that they will. You won't want the things that they want. You won't have the energy that they've got, vice versa. Right. It's a funny thing. Okay. But then something happens after a while, 6 months, a year, 2 years into your business, something has crept in. Guess what? It's the values of your customer. And so you become your customers. You become them. Their habits, their beliefs, their values rub off on you, whether you want it or not. This is a scary thing because if they pay late, what does that mean? It means you pay late because you don't get paid, and then now you can distribute those funds out to somebody else. All right. The things that they start to value, you'll start to value. If they're low mindset, you're going to start to become low mindset. It's a scary, scary thing unless you watch it. Okay. Very difficult for a high mindset person to serve a low mindset or low energy market. Okay. If you don't know what I'm talking about this energy thing, go into Alan Sultanic's group. Nothing Held Back. Best group I've seen on Facebook in 10 plus years on Facebook. Okay. For business owners, agency owners, copywriters, people who want to understand how things work, and just go through his posts. He's got a super post at the top that links to long form content explaining his insights. Okay. The guy knows more than I do, and I am happy to follow him there. All right. I have literally copied and pasted many of his posts into a Google Doc just in case that group disappears someday. All right. I want to make sure I keep this stuff. And he talks about this high energy state versus low energy state. And there are two very different things. So big takeaway today, other than going to that group, you don't need Jason anymore if you do that, is you are not your customer at the beginning. All right. And as a copywriter, as a seller, you need to learn that the things that you value are not what they value. But over time, that stuff's going to creep into you and you're going to be forced to adapt just to survive, right? Remember what I said about they pay late, that means you pay late, right? And then you become your customer, and you are your customer after a while. It's scary, okay? So the key here is, what do you do about it? Jason's right. Be deliberate. Choose consciously. All right. A lot of people get into business and it's very loosey-goosey, sloppy, whatever comes in front of them first, right? Oh, I'm going to be a photographer or whatever, right? Whatever comes along first, it infects them, because then they're like, all right, I did that. I have a track record with that. And if that is a low energy marketplace, right? Low value marketplace, that's what you're stuck with if you don't do anything about it. Now, tools, I've talked about money tolerance and raising that money tolerance, right? I've talked about it, how to do it, how to identify it. Where are you and how do you raise it, right? But it's work. And again, you got to get that reticular activating system seeing new things, which takes a few weeks, right? It ain't easy. It's work. So yeah, there's something you can do about it, but I caution you, really do caution you. Okay. At the beginning, you are not your customer, but after a while, you will become them and you will say, I am my customer. I'll see you tomorrow.